total more than $1 trillion on a single day in December 2008, and more than $7 trillion in loans and other commitments to saving the financial system between 2007 and 2010. The extent of the loans to specific banks was not revealed to Congress at the time. The article also says that banks earned billions of dollars of profits on those loans, and that a number of Wall Street firms borrowed money even as they publicly told investors that their financial position was strong.
Legal origins stemmed from legislation mainly driven by a desire to protect and promote U.S. capital in foreign jurisdictions, not the economic prosperity of said territory.
We already know that they've sent Ebola virus to China and that they're working with the Chinese military scientists. This is known. What else are they hiding?
CBC News has learned that months before being escorted out of Canada's highest security microbiology lab, federal scientist Jianguo Chu sent 30 vials of 15 different strains of Ebola and Henipavirus virus to Wuhan, China.
अभी कुछ दिन पहले ब्रिटेन के एक अखबार डेली मेल ने खबर छापी थी कि अमेरिका ने चीन को कोरोना वायरस पे रिसर्च करने के लिए $3.7 मिलियन, यानी अगर उसको हम रुपए में देखें तो लगभग उन बारों में छपा, कुछ लोग तो उसमें बिलियन ढूंढ रहे थे कि
Well, if you've seen social media posts linking Bill Gates to COVID-19, you're not alone. In fact, there's a viral rumor that's going around the internet tonight claiming that he actually created the virus to trick people into getting microchipped. Well, tonight, our verifying team is searching the facts.
Microsoft patent that many claim is for microchips. Okay, let's break this down. These claims all started with a Q&A session on Reddit. Gates was talking about the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and how they're tackling COVID-19. Now, one of his answers was about people safely returning to work. He wrote that a system of, quote, digital certificates could be used to show if you've already been tested or eventually. And last week, former Trump advisor Roger Stone even repeated the theory in an
No pensé que daño le estaba haciendo a mi hija.
El simple hecho de tener poder me encanta.
Yo trabajaba dentro del cabaret. Yo llevé a mi hija al cabaret teniendo mi hija 13 años. Y le dije a mi hija, tú vas a ser mi sucesora. No pensé que daño le estaba haciendo a mi hija en ese momento. Estaba ciega. Desafortunadamente eso no fue todo, la inicié en el alcohol. Tomamos juntas como si fuéramos dos compañeras de trabajo, no como si fuera mi hija. Hoy me pesa y me duele en el corazón haber hecho lo que hice con mi hija. El trabajo con mis hijos como si fuera una empresa donde teníamos un patrón que era Mario. Me sacaron de trabajar de la prostitución y empezó a llevarme chicos. Yo era la que me encargaba de hacer de comer. Y después de ser víctima, pasé a ser víctima.
As a very large police presence has now grown into a human smuggling investigation here. Let me give you a look on 7 of some of this operation. What you're looking at right now, FBI agents, Michigan State Police, and other law enforcement agencies doing a search warrant on a home in Detroit. They bust in, guns drawn, looking for the child predators. Now, once inside, they gather evidence, guns, calling cards, clothes. Now, look at some other video we have for you. This one is from a Quality Inn hotel room in Detroit. You can see a woman sitting on the bed shortly after she is in cuffs. Again, more evidence is taken from here, too. Now, this child sex trafficking sting was called Operation Cross Country and was spearheaded by the FBI and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
And tonight, police say the streets are safer after more than 100 violent criminals were locked up as part of a massive sting. U.S. Marshals teaming up with the Valley Police Forces for a weeks-long mission. ABC 15's Adam Waltz with how
140 violent fugitives, 131 guns, and more than 3,000 counterfeit fentanyl pills off the streets, thanks to U.S. Marshal Operation Snake Eyes.
Focused directly into gang crime violence, which has been spiking recently ever since the COVID started.
So before the election, he goes in and just wants to verify. He's just being extra careful that he's going to get to vote because he just knows hanky-panky's going on here in Nevada. And he goes in with his utility bills, various business stuff, his ballot, because he's going to go vote early. He goes in, 10 days early to go vote, or 8 days, whatever it was. And he gets in there, and they said, "Oh, that's fine, no problem." They're going to sign him up to vote and get it all done. He has all of his documentation. But he just smells a rat. Something just doesn't feel right. And he keeps asking questions. And, by the way, he records the whole conversations. No big deal. Figures he's got it taken care of. After the election, day after the election, somebody from the RNC, the Republican National Committee, calls him up and says, "Hey, we looked on the voter roll stuff and we see you didn't vote, but you got a ballot." He says, "Well, I did vote. I went in person and voted." He says, "Well, it says you didn't vote here." So long and short of it is that he goes in and tries to verify that his vote's going to get counted. And once again, they tell him, "No problem, no problem, no problem." Now, there's one little thing that's unique here in Nevada that shouldn't have been happening. His ballot says he's a Republican. The envelope that he has for his ballot says Republican on it from the primary. And so when he's going in to talk to the poll workers there in the county, in Clark County, they all know he's a Republican. They're shining him on, no problem, no problem. But he's having them look in the computer. He's not in there as having voted.
The committee scheduled a public hearing with Dominion Voting Systems to be held now. The members of the State Government Committee were looking forward to publicly addressing the plethora of accusations of Dominion Voting Systems in a format which would have allowed open and honest dialogue. I was impressed at what appeared to be the willingness of Dominion Voting Systems to address accusations, and it would have put 1.3 million Pennsylvanians who use their machines at ease, including myself. Thinking Dominion was willing to publicly back up their product, which Pennsylvania taxpayers invested millions to purchase and voters entrusted with their sacred ballots, was truly remarkable. I truly felt Pennsylvanians and the nation could get some answers into the truth of the effectiveness of Dominion Voting Systems. Unfortunately, last evening, Dominion Voting Systems lawyered up and backed out of their commitment to the people of Pennsylvania to provide their input in a public format and discuss their voting systems, of which 1.3 Pennsylvanians entrusted. Instead of running towards the light of honesty and integrity, Dominion Voting Systems retreated to the darkness.
Votes, and what you see, will Georgia switch?
Yeah, that's a total farce. Georgia's probably going to be the first state I'm going to blow up, and Mr. Kemp and the Secretary of State need to go with it because they're in on the Dominion scam with their last-minute purchase or award of a contract to Dominion of $100 million. The State Bureau of Investigation for Georgia ought to be looking into the financial benefits received by Mr. Kemp and the Secretary of State's family about that time.
President Trump fired his defense secretary today. No lame duck president has ever done such a thing. Mark Esper and President Trump have long been at odds. He signaled last week that he was likely done when he penned a resignation letter and had it at the ready. He didn't need it because the president Twitter fired him. Mark Esper has been terminated effective immediately, he wrote.
I'm here today to announce that I've directed the Special Operations Civilian Leadership to report directly to me instead of through the current bureaucratic channels. This historic step finalizes what Congress has authorized and directed and will put Special Operations Command on par with the military services for the first time.
We've got another flight, a big one, a 737-800 twin out of Fort Bliss, Texas. It's probably going to be supplies, although nothing is sure nowadays. Sun County Airlines. Sun County, we know they're a big operation, and they do work for the U.S. government. 737. What else we got going on, folks? Now, the first flight was yesterday evening. That flight we just saw from Fort Bliss was Tuesday, and this was also Tuesday. We've got Norfolk, Virginia, following the coast and landing in Guantanamo Bay. Let's take a look at what we've got. A 757. So they're hooking down there on a 757-200 twin jet. Another big airliner.
And that's all I have to say about that.